So a change in the Israeli government. The prime minister has disbanded the war cabinet formed in the early days of the war with Hamas as concerns grow out of a wider conflict in the region. That move comes a week after opposition leader Benny Gantz resigned from the cabinet, citing frustrations with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the war in Gaza. Netanyahu says his security cabinet will now handle decisions related to the war. And that's as Israeli forces are clashing with Hezbollah in the north, taking out another of the militant group's key operatives. Joining me now, our foreign correspondent Tom Burridge. He is there in Jerusalem, actually outside the Knesset. Also, our foreign correspondent Marcus Moore is joining us from Beirut. So, Tom, tell us what's going on outside the Israeli parliament right now. I understand there's protests.
That's right, Kira. So the Knesset is just over there. You can see the protest just in the distance behind me. This whole area, heavy police presence. They're stopping the protesters getting down to the Knesset. The protesters are going to walk up towards Prime Minister Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem later. I mean, this is a section of Israeli society. They're against the war. They want the war to end. They want a ceasefire to get the hostages home, and they want fresh elections. And I've just been speaking to the leader of the opposition in Israel, Yair Lapid. And I know we're going to hear about the situation on Israel's northern border with Lebanon from Marcus in a second, but Yair Lapid saying he's incredibly worried about the situation there. He's just been meeting President Biden's envoy in the region, saying, you know, the situation cannot be more serious right there. It's really escalating, and the situation really has to dial down. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, though, really focusing on Gaza, saying he will still meet his war objectives, as he puts it, before he goes for a permanent ceasefire, potentially with Hamas, to get the hostages home.
Wow, and as we monitor this with you, Tom, in real time, Marcus, what's the situation like on the northern border?
Well, Kira, the situation continues to develop on the northern border. There have been continued strikes on the part of the Israelis, striking targets in southern Lebanon, including one today that took out a key figure, a top-ranking official in Hezbollah's group, their organization. He has been described as a key operative in Hezbollah's rocket and missile department in southern Lebanon. And so each potential strike or each strike really does raise the potential for miscalculation, and that's what we have seen over the past many months, the situation unfolding along the border. And as Tom has mentioned quite a bit in the past, we're talking about tens of thousands of Israelis who've been forced from their homes because of the strikes on the part of Hezbollah into northern Israel, they say in support of the Palestinian people in Gaza, and in turn Israel striking targets in southern Lebanon, and that has forced people there away from their homes as well. So Kira, you have of a highly volatile situation, one that we have seen the intensity and the frequency of the strikes increase in the past few weeks, and it's why so many across this region and across the globe are so concerned about the situation as it unfolds here in southern Lebanon and northern Israel.
And Tom, just hearing what Marcus just said from where he is there in Beirut, and then paying close attention to the protests that you're seeing there just outside the Knesset. Then you have Netanyahu disbanding his war cabinet. What does this tell you just about this ongoing war and what's happening in Gaza, and now what's picking up, you know, around the region?
Yeah, I think, Kira, we're battling the noise here a bit, but look, it tells you that Israeli society is divided, and it also tells you that Israeli society is divided about how and when the war in Gaza should end. Now, look, we've spoken today to the chief spokesperson of the IDF, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, and look, he's told me that the operation in Rafah, that controversial ground offensive into the southern city of Rafah in Gaza, is only weeks away from wrapping up. And that is significant because the Israeli government's position on when they would be prepared to go for a deal which would allow for a permanent ceasefire, and that is the red line for Hamas, is that they first want to meet their objectives in the war. And one of their key objectives is degrading Hamas, and that operation in Rafah is where they are actually say they are taking out the remaining battalions of Hamas. So it is crucial. It doesn't mean that in weeks we'll see a ceasefire for sure, but it could pave the way, and it's important language. We're seeing Israeli officials dial down their language a little bit. They used to say they wanted to destroy Hamas. They're now talking about degrading the military capabilities and framework of Hamas. Kira?
Tom Sufi Burridge there in Jerusalem, Marcus Moore in Beirut. We'll stay in touch with both of you. Thank you.